So look, I wanted to show you something before we even start. This is a real comment from one of the launch day videos of the Wave XLR Pro. It says, "That's the problem with software dependency. If the company decides to stop supporting the software that brings the device to life, you are getting almost a brick, just like they happened to the GoXLR. That's why I prefer analog or physical functions." Now, here's the thing, the GoXLR isn't actually a brick today, and honestly, it depends on its own software for a lot of makes it special, just like the Wave XLR Pro does. Neither device escapes that, but what the GoXLR does have that the Wave XLR Pro doesn't is a physical faders. Everything goes through the Wave Link or a Stream Deck. So after 3 weeks of real use, does that actually matter day by day? Let me go ahead and share it with you. Alright guys, it's Rodrigo here. Welcome back to the channel. This is video 3 of the Wave XLR Pro series. If you haven't seen video 1 or video 2, go ahead and check those out. Links are up here. But quick recap. I left the GoXLR, I bought myself, no sponsor, no partner deal, and now I have this thing for about 3 weeks, multiple live streams, daily use. This is being my full honest review of the Wave XLR Pro. Now, one quick note before we start, I already covered the unboxing, the ports, the build quality, the Wavecast replacement setup, the PS5 and Switch 2 connection, and the DJI Mic Mini in video 2. I'm not repeating any of those in this video, so if you missed it, go ahead and check out that first, then come back here because this video is everything I have learned since then. Real use while streaming and the stuff you only find out after living with the device for a few weeks. Now let's start with the software. In video 2, I told you launch week was rough for some people, was crackling, popping, settings getting wiped. Since then, Elgato pushed 4 patches, the 3.2.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4. And remember when I told you that manually turn off voice focus on your aux channel because it was causing weird audio? Well, Elgato fixed that. It is disabled by default now, and if you are setting this up fresh today, you won't even need to hit that bug. Now, I have been running the Wave XLR Pro right here for about 3 weeks right now, daily using multiple live streams, 0 issues on my end. Now, I wanted to be honest with you, not everyone had a smooth experience. There are still reports this week on Elgato Discord of crackling and erratic controls for some users. And Mac users specifically seems to have a much rougher time than Windows users. In my case, I am on Windows and I cannot speak about Mac experience, but on Windows, this thing has been solid for me. And we all know that Elgato have this karma in release software with a lot of bugs like the Wave Link 3.0, for example. However, with the 4 patches in under 3 weeks, well, that's a kind of fast follow through that makes me confident in this device long term. But let's hope Elgato focus on a lot of their software stability, especially when an update is needed, because the hardware are amazing, no questions. But if the software doesn't stay stable, then nothing really matters, especially talking about the Wave XLR Pro that depends on the Wave Link software to utilize the full capability. Now, you can use the Wave XLR without the Wave Link, but you will lose a lot of capability like the VSTs and the router mixer, which is for a $350 device. It won't make any sense to have it. Quick thing on a single PC mode. A lot of people on the Discord assume you need 2 PCs to use this. You don't. I tested it with just my gaming PC connected, no stream PC needed to be open at all. But let's be honest about who that actually matters for. Now, if you're a single PC today but planning to go dual PC later, this device scales with you. So you can buy now at once and grow into it later. Now, if you're on a single PC and you play across multiple platforms like on PC, PS5, Switch 2, the real benefit isn't that you need this to get console audio in. A capture card already does that without a second PC. But the benefit is convenience. You can have your gaming PC, your PS5, and your Switch 2 all connected to the Wave XLR Pro through different ports, so you're not unplugging and replugging every time you switch what you are playing. Now, if you're already running a dual PC like me, this solves a real annoyance. You don't have to keep your streaming PC powered on just to use Wave Link, even when you are not live. That is a genuine quality of life fix. For me, it was absolutely great. But if none of that applies to you, Single PC, one platform, no plans to expand. Honestly, this specific feature isn't doing much extra for you. This device still works great, just don't buy it for this reason alone. Now, in my current setup, I use with my PS5 and Switch 2 for long sessions testing. Multiple extended streams, it was basically very stable, no dropouts, no issues. So I cannot really complain about it. It's been really solid since I started using 3 weeks ago. Okay, switching gears, let's talk about latency, VST effects, and reverb, because this is the most unique thing I found in 3 weeks of testing. Here's what Elgato actually says in their own words for hardware DSP effects. Those are low cut, expander, voice tune, compressor, EQ, plus docking and mix maximizer, which are exclusive to this device. They say, and I quote, "You hear yourself process in real time with zero latency." So for VST effects, their honest disclaimer is just this. Now I quote, "VST effects may introduce additional latency depending on your setup." They don't put a specific number on it. They are very specific about that distinction. So I test myself live on stream with my harmonica. Hardware DSP only, wire headphones into the front jack is actually zero latency, confirmed, just like the GoXLR. But there is the thing nobody else tested. The headphone connection matters more than which effects you use it. You see, wire headphones directly into the Wave XLR Pro or a DAC through the line now, VST reverb feels near zero. I still can sing with a reverb and play harmonica with reverb, just like in the GoXLR. Now, if you switch to a wireless headset connected through the PC, well, latency comes back. Same effects, same device, different headphone connection. That's what a Windows audio architecture thing, not a Wave XLR Pro problem. Alright, this is the section a lot of you ask for in the comments. My actual settings for the SM7B after 3 weeks of dialing in. Quick disclaimer, this works for my voice and my room. You are going to need to tweak this for yours, but it gives you a real start point instead of guessing. So right here I have the input gain, which is a 46 dB. The gain is locked on now. I have a 48 volt phantom power off because the SM7B is a dynamic mic. You don't need a phantom power for this. Now the Clipguard is on always because this is a great feature because it won't let you clip on your audio. Low cut filter on as well. Cuts out the low rumble, desk bumps, AC hums. The expander is on for me. A ratio is 2.1 to 1. Attack is 10 milliseconds, release 203 milliseconds. This cleans up background noise when I'm not actively talking. I also have the voice tune on, set towards more than a weak side. This one is very subtle. Too strong, it starts sounding processed, so I keep it a light in my opinion. The compressor is on as well. The threshold is negative 22 dB. The ratio is 4 to 1. Attack 10 milliseconds, release 100 milliseconds, makeup gain for about plus dB. Now, I'm talking about the compressor. One of the comments on a launch video said that the hardware DSP feels heavy-handed, like a hammer at the default settings. I actually agree with that in the factory defaults. So these numbers right here are after backing it off from the default. So if yours sounds too compressed or unnatural, lower the ratio first. That's usually the fix. And now this is the EQ. This is the one with the most personality. Sharp low cut below 80 Hz, slightly boost around 80 Hz to add a little body. Small dip on the 300 Hz to 1.4 kHz to clean up some mud, and high shelf boost starting around 5 kHz for clarity and presence. Now that's the full chain. Took me about 3 weeks and small adjustments to land here. Start with these numbers, then trust your ears. I still tweaking this as I go, but this settings is actually you been listening to this entire video so far. Now every review covered the 5 independent mixes as a feature. Nobody show what it actually look like during a real stream. So let me show you how it look in mine. Now you can see over here that I have 3-4 different setup mixes right here. The first one is my personal mix. As you can see, I have here basically my microphone, the other microphone if I need to use it. I use this right here, PC console, which it comes from the gaming PC or a console when I connect it. That's the audio come in. The system, the Spotify, my Discord when I need to hear my mates. The Lumi streaming when I use any alerts from them or any kind of effects. Studio OBS I use for when I need to have a monitor come from a monitor in, come from an OBS Studio. The SFX I use when is more like a soundboard. That's what I use as well. So I send to myself and to the stream. And also the harmonica songs that I usually have over here in a separate channel. So that way I always control how loud can be. And the lightning, which is if I want to bring anything else on the lightning if I need it. Now, as you can see right here, I have 4 different mixes. One right here is for recording when I need to use to record, as I'm recording right now. I have the chat mix. This is where it goes to my Discord when I have my squad and talk to them. So I'm sending my mic, my wireless if I have to, and the soundboard just for fun. And also I'm having the stream mix, which I basically send everything with a different calibration right here. Now, as you can see right here, I have the dock logo right here, which I usually dock my music. So right now is off on the stream, but if you wanted to add it, you always add it, and you can allow docking, and that way when you have the music going on in the background, your microphone stand out, and that lowers a little bit. So this is my actually personal mix as I'm streaming and my setup today. And now one more thing about the routing example worth in showing you. Back in a video 1, somebody asked me a really good question. Can you run PC Discord and PS5 party chat through these at the same time without splitter or extra hardware? And I say I did test it. PS5 on the aux port, PC on the host port, and yes, it works. My SM7B goes out to the Discord on PC for my squad, and the same mic sends to PS5 for party chat for in-game voice, all through the same device, same setup, no splitters, no middleman boxes. If you have been waiting years for a setup like this solves it. Now, and while we are talking about other devices, somebody also asked me how this compared to the Rodecaster Duo, since I used to run that before the GoXLR. And so my honest answer, I do not have the unit anymore, so I cannot give you my fair side-by-side test. What I can tell you is that PS5 compatibility issue that pushed me away from the Rodecaster Duo originally is fully solved here. Beyond that, I'll point it out you to someone who currently owns both for a real comparison. All right, now everyone talking about ducking as a feature. Here's what it actually feels like on live using the ducking. All right, so here on the Wave 3.0, you can see that actually I'm using the ducking on those channels right here, which is the stream mix and the personal mix. The whole thing about the ducking is when the music is playing, it keeps on the background, it just lower the dB a little bit so your voice can stand out. So when I stop talking, the levels goes up, and you can see over here when I'm talking, the levels gonna pass a little bit of the blue dot, which is supposed to with the volume. So you see, it does lower a little bit. So this is the ducking. Now, the docking is only in the hardware for the Wave XLR Pro. So if you do have another Wave device, it does not come with the docking. You can also use docking and OBS as a plugin, but getting the Wave XLR Pro, it does give you this feature which not other device does have. Now, one thing I wanted to show you here as well, when you go to settings, you can go to docking settings, and over here you can actually use the settings for sensitivity of docking, which is could be low, medium, high. I'm using everything in medium because it feels a little bit more natural when I speak, when I stop it. As you can see, it does go up a little bit, not much, but you can play this around to fit your stream. So this is definitely a worth feature talking about on the Wave XLR Pro. Now, a lot of you brought this up on the comments. Why do you have to alt tab out of the game just to adjust your mic volume or get forced into buy a stream deck? Now, here is my honest answer. You are right. There is no actually physical knob on the device itself. Mixing happens on the software and through the stream deck. And I use the Stream Deck Plus, and honestly, for me, it's more flexible than a single volume knob ever was. But that is an extra cost on the top of the device. If you don't already have one and don't want to buy one, you are out tabbing or use on-screen controls. That's the real trade-off, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. Now, one more quick one. A few people in the Discord ask why Windows showed this device at 32-bit when Elgato's patch sheet says 24-bit, 48 kHz. Now, Nobody answered on there, so I will answer here. This is normal. Windows often display audio devices using a 32-bit flow container for internal processing, even when the actual hardware resolution is 24-bit. The hardware itself is still 34-bit as specified. Nothing wrong with that, nothing to worry about it. So here is my honest verdict after 3 weeks with the Wave XLR Pro. If you are coming from a GoXLR and you specifically need a live performance like a singing instrument, get wire headphones or a DAC into your line out, and this generally replaces the experience. Now, if you are running a dual PC setup, this is the cleanest solution I ever used. Better than a GoXLR in my opinion, and I have experience using both. Now, if you want a physical knobs and faders out of the box with zero extra purchase, this isn't that. You will want a streaming deck alongside, and that's an additional cost to factor in. Now, if you are also doing serious music production or need a DAW focus setup with the Asian support, this isn't built for that. It is a streaming mixing, not an audio interface. You want to a dedicated interface alongside it for that kind of work. And if you are on Mac, I will wait. Based on what I have been seeing and in the community, Windows is the more stable experience right now. So is the Wave XLR Pro worth it, the $350? For my setup, for what I do, streaming, dual PC, live performance, yes, it's really great. It earned its spot, and I'm not going back to the GoXLR. So next video, the most requested things in the comments for full dual PC setup tutorial, step by step, that's coming next, so make sure you are subscribed. And if this video helped you, drop a like and let me know in the comments, what still hold you back from getting one of those? Or what is working great for you and if you already have it. I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.